I have never had in an office, never had in a meeting room, and I've never had on a Zoom call or a Teams call or any of those things. So when people do their best thinking, it invariably is things like in the shower, just before I go to bed, just after I wake up, sometimes in the middle of the night, out walking, out in nature, kinds of things. It's never in an office, on a Zoom call, in a meeting room. And so I thought, you know what, there's something in that then, in terms of change. And also as humans, we're very responsive to the environment that we're around. And so we respond to, yeah, our surroundings. And so there's something about moving to enable thinking. There's also something about the environment that we're in to enable thinking. And also there's something symbolic, I think, for me, especially if you're together physically, is when you're walking side by side with someone. So because you're literally alongside them in it, even though as a coach, you're not solving a problem for someone else, you're providing the space for them to think, but you're doing it and you are physically next to them. And I think there's a symbolic aspect to that. And I love one of the things I love seeing is when the speed of the walk changes. So noticing when the person that I'm coaching is slowing down, when they're speeding up, when they're stopping, and each of the time I'm completely guided by them. So I'm deliberately in step with wherever they are. So if we slow down, if we speed up, if we stop, and I always love seeing the different places and times where that happens. And often when the thinking is really hard, we're slowing right down or we're stopping. And then when there's ideas, then that moves us then, and we start to move forward, and we start to then pick up pace a little bit more. It's never fast walking or running, but it's interesting for me to experience the different types of movement that come with the different phases of thinking. And that's one of the things I love about walking coaching. I also do walking coaching over the phone. So the risk is that, and I say that comes across like you have to do it together, and you don't. I've done walking coaching over the phone with a number of clients over a number of years. And again, even though I'm not with them, because we're both moving at the same time and we're both moving through time and space, again, for me, it changes the dynamic of the session from being, oh, we're in a meeting room in an office, or we're in a meeting room in a co-working space, or whatever that might be. And instead, we're out walking around a place. And I don't think it needs to be particularly beautiful. So this time we were walking around a very industrial, the most recent one, we were walking around a very industrialized part of a town in the northwest of England. And so it's not like we were in the rolling hills of Derbyshire or anything like that. We were just walking around streets where there's, yeah, different construction and industrial projects going on. So yeah, I find walking coaching, it's very different to doing it in a kind of static way. And there's places for both, of course. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's magical too. And honestly, doing it over the phone, you're in somebody's head. Like literally, the earphone is probably actually in your ear, right?
Mm,
So it's intimate, but you're not even there, right? So
mm.
yeah, I think it's
And you can,
magical.
and what, oh, sorry, I know I've interrupted you, and that's not something I normally do. I'm just excited. Um, I also want to add into that, I think that you can hear when someone's moving and when they're not. So even though I'm saying that when I'm with someone, I love seeing the differences between when we're moving fast and slow, you can hear that on the phone. You can hear when someone is moving quickly or moving slowly or stopping. And so it's not like you don't have that if you're doing it over the phone. You still have, you can hear that through the the wind on the microphone, or through the rustling of the clothes, or through the changes in the background noise and things like that. You can get some
Breathing.
really good, yeah, and breathing, absolutely. You can get all of those clues and cues that tell you where someone's at, so that is the coach, you can respond to that, modify your questions or your approaches or your silences accordingly. So when do you need to just pause and let that person think for a little bit without interfering?
Very cool. So I just want to pivot a little bit